Hey, good evening, everyone. It is I, Nathan Bonner, the creator and animator of Indavo, and the artist of the Big Money Monster, a true life tale of Murphy's Brawl, issues 1 and 2. And tonight I will be working on animation for episode 2. Now, you may hear some other sounds around me. I have one of the foster kittens. Actually, this is one of the kids I'm actually keeping. She's actually in the room with me, wandering around at the moment, causing a fuss. But she's like that. So anyway, what we are going to be doing today is working on the first character scene of the second episode. So here we are. We are in Moho 14. And I have a new file open, and we're going to check the settings on this new file real quick. Project settings, make sure everything's okay. Yes, we have the correct settings here. Proportions, frame rate, and length as we see fit. Now we're going to start importing elements into Moho to create this very first, very pivotal scene. Okay, so let's go down to file and let's go to import, and I'm just going to use the general import, and you can see here that we have another character that we will not be using today or this episode. So I already have a kind of some things already pre-rendered out of a Blender, such as our background. Pow! Now you may notice that there's still white showing through the white of the background. This is because this is a PNG that has an alpha channel, so this is going to actually be space back here. I'll have a separate space element, which I will move when I recompile everything into After Effects. Yeah, what I will be doing is this basically just for reference to where the character is going to be in the scene. The character will be rendered by herself, and then everything will be recomposited, including with the audio file in After Effects, and different shadows and highlights and various other blending tools will be used to make it look good. to cover my decidedly mid animation. Yes, as the Utes say. First, let's go ahead and hit save as. Okay, we're already in shot 2, and this happens to be shot 2. We have been joined by Kodiak, who has decided to get the door open. That's number 2 of the kittens. I'm just going to hit shot 2. You're a persistent little guy, you know that? All right. Okay, so let's see if we can get him comfy. Okay, so now we've saved this. Usually what I do is, even before I import the character, is I import the audio file. Now, so the character will be looking down at some screens and then responding. So we're going to give, usually, the scene, this is kind of like dead space for the first second. So I usually would begin on 2 with the audio file. But in this case, I am not. I'm going to actually begin on 4. So I'm going to go ahead and move that there. Move this over to the sequencer. See, this is the actual just timeline for keyframes, and this is a sequencer where you can move things around a lot easier. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so we already have an audio file right here, Rachel Shot 2 MP3. So we're going to add that in, and look, hey, it put it exactly where we wanted it. And this gives us an idea how long our scene will be. Looks like our scene's going to end up being 6 seconds, because I just want to go about a second or so beyond the audio file. In this case, half second beyond the audio file. It's just good. It'll be fine. In this case, it'll be fine. There's not going to be a crossfade or anything like that. If you wanted a crossfade, I would say go to frame 168 at the 7-second mark in order to do that. In this case, we do not. It's just going to be a quick jump cut. Bam, go on over to scene 3, which would be guarantee. I should also mention now, I was able to get most of the characters' recordings done. However, I did not get all of the characters' recordings done. So there are 3 characters outstanding. I'm hoping to be able to to arrange another recording session on August the 2nd in order to get those other 3 voices, with guarantee, of course, an A1 having the vast majority of the lines and Dogrin just having a few lines here and there. So that thud was, of course, from a kitten playing, so don't mind that. I did try to lock the other 2 out, but they just barged in, as kittens are wont to do. They have grown since the last art stream. Haven't done an art stream for a while, and I was going to do Blender spaceships on the next art stream, and of course things got in the way, as life often does, and I was unable to fulfill that idea. I have saved that idea, and we will bank that for later. Those spaceships will be in dire need of creation for episode 3, because I will be using them then. So we're going to go to import Moho object. Now we're going to go back over to here to our animation resource, and we're going to go into our characters folders, and here's all the characters that I have, and that's a lot. Oh, so we're going to get base 25, and we're just going to go ahead and import. No, we're not going to. No, we're not. No. We're going to import by reference. Sorry about that. That in there. Boom. Import by reference. That way, if I make any changes to the base file, it will be able to be updated in my character panel in the scene. So if something's not working and I'm like, oh, I should change that on that character, go back over here to our actual keyframe setting. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, I'm not going to zoom, I'm just going to scale. Let's kind of scale out here. Zoom out a bit. We're just going to scale her up using the layer transform tool to about how big I think she should be in this scene, and that's probably about right. Let's go a little bit closer here and take a quick peek. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead and no, we're not going to do anything of the sort. We are going to take this right about to there. We're going to go to frame 1. Being on frame 1, you could manipulate the bones on frame 0, but they won't take. It all default back to its base setting unless you're on a frame like frame 1. So just move to any frame, in this case frame 1. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're going to move her in that position. Okay, that's not quite the starting position that we want, but we're going to leave it right there. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go to her head group here, and we're going to go down. The mouth. We're going to make sure that the mouth is on regular, and it is set for regular. So we're going to double click on that and bring up our layer settings panel. We're going to go to switch, and we're going to choose here and select audio sync source, Rachel Shot 2.mp3, and click enter. And right now you can see.
Seems to be a warship.
Okay, that's very slow. There we go. That's much.
Seems to be a warship.
All right, well there we go. That's what the audio will sound like, and now her lips move. Now, again, when talking about character mouth design, I don't do. As you can see here, I'm not doing phonetic sounds, the different mouth positions for the vowels and consonants. I am actually doing anime-style lip flaps, which is a little bit more economical and easier to do. And also, if it's ever going to be translated to Norwegian, and Indavo is going to be translated into Norwegian, I'm sure, one day. So this will make that easier. It probably won't be, but still, let's just say it would be. Terribly bad random example. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and collapse the mouth folder, and we're going to also do the head folder. Yes, I know. So there are 3 kittens currently. One is a foster, and then the other 2 I'm actually keeping. and they are constantly battling one another. The other two kittens that I had are actually being fostered at a neighbor's. So I think it's probably going to end up being a foster fail. In that case, that's when the foster people just adopt the animal that they're supposed to be taking care of temporarily. So, okay, now, so we're going to run her into position. Okay, so let's kind of... So, we're going to have her kind of like... She is actually looking at the various... see, I added a head bone so the head can pivot without having to use the head up down a little bit better. There it is. It's yeah. Ooh, I'm very proud of these things. So, all right, so we're going to use our facial rig control here to get the eyes into position. Still on keyframe 1. Okay, so that's going to probably be okay. There, okay, and we're going to go down to frame 24 as there won't be any movement in that first second. Or will there's a slight bit of movement. So we're just going to go ahead and go to here and make it seem like maybe she's reading a screen, some just minor movements. Hold half second there, or we have her turn her head and a little bit more. There we go. Maybe not quite that much there on those eyes. Bring those back down. Or turn all the way. Now we have to bring those eyes back so they don't look quite as terrible as they would be. Alright, that's looking pretty good so far. And we're going to have her hold about half a second there. And now we're going to go to the... up to here, here, and we're going to make that head turn over to there. Readjust that so it's right on. Up and down we don't need right now, so I'm going to try and restrain from using it. Okay, so we're going to put a blink into this turn. Move that down to there as well. And one thing we're also going to do is we're going to use the head up and down just a slight bit. Give a little bit more.
Seems to be
there we go. So she's going to hold for a few frames.
Seems to be a war.
Going to hold on the warship bit, and then we're going to go down, Put everything down a little bit. Head down. That back to there. I should be looking at Indavo in this scene. So this is going not so bad. Okay, let's hit save. And let's just hit play on the timeline and see what happens. Oh.
Seems to be a warship.
That's not bad. Okay, it's going to need a little bit of finessing. I think the head turn here is far too long. It needs to be faster to hide the deficiencies in the head turn. quite honestly. Yeah. If I were to maybe do a little bit of the head turn mojo that I was doing there. That's not bad.
Seems to be a warship. Seems to be a warship.
That's pretty good. That is definitely not bad. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to test out the animation. Kind of hit the bottom shape layer where there's nothing there. Basically, that's going to hide the bones for whenever we hit save, and we go to edit, and now we're going to hit preview animation. So it's going to go through the animation, and it's going to make a little video for us at very poor quality. And it just cut out the music, and you can't see this. Okay, so let's go to here, and let's bring this down to here, and I'll just show you it right now, what we've got. This is a low quality, just kind of gives you an idea how everything's going to move.
Seems to be a warship.
Okay, well, that turn to the screen is still a little bit too abrupt, so we're just going to have to peel that off just a skosh, which is okay. It's fine. We'll make it work. The beauty of animation in this format is that you can really go through and make sure that you've got it down pat. And that's what we're hoping for anyway. Let's start that music again. Or maybe not. Sick of it by now. I need to make more new music. And right now the kittens are battling one another quite intensely. So why don't you guys calm down? Boundless energy of Ute. Okay, so that head turn was a little abrupt, so I need to slow it down. So I think I'm going to move. Well, it's not on the right keyframe. Got to make sure you're right on 72. Okay, there we go. Move that right down to there. Sometimes it looks like your shapes will go crazy when you're going backwards on the timeline. That's because the bones with physics on them are trying to work in reverse. It'll go crazy once you move forward on the timeline. It'll fix itself automatically. So we're just going to kind of move that maybe halfway and maybe like that. Oh, I know probably what would probably help sell this a little bit is if we were to do this. Okay, now we're going to take that, hit copy, and we're going to go there. We're going to hit paste. So we're just copy pasting the hold.
Seems to be a warship.
Yes, well, that's why it has guns. I'm sure you're tired of hearing that line. So, all right, let's just kind of play through the here and see what we've got on the timeline. Okay, it's doing good.
Seems to be a warship.
I think what we're going to do, though, is on her starting eye position, I think it should be... I'm going to start that starting eye position up. It goes over there. All right. Sometimes I miss keyframes because my pen is not uber precise. Or I'm not uber precise.
Seems to be a warship.
That's good. All right, so bam, your character animation is now done. So what do you do now? Well, you need to export this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this as a series of PNGs, an image sequence as they call it. And then that image sequence will be re-imported into After Effects. You may imagine sequences are not movies, so they don't have the audio files with them, and it won't have the background. We're just going to hide the background, and we can leave the audio file on, but so we're just going to go here and take stock of when the audio file comes in. It comes out of frame 4. Important to remember for when we get into After Effects. So let's go ahead and let's export animation. Let's bring up the panel for export animation. Right now it's set for video, which we don't want a video, of course. We want an image sequence. Now it's already set for PNG, which is good. Used to be back in the olden days, if you ever wondered what a Targa is for, it is for video graphics. It has an alpha channel, so you get transparency on it, and this was what people used before PNGs. You can also now use PSDs because, you know, they have the transparency in Photoshop since Photoshop 3.0, not CS3 but just 3 for a very long time. You can also do JPEG too, but there's no transparency on JPEG. Same thing with TIFF. TIFF's a print file. I don't know why we're doing it why we even have an image sequence for TIFFs here. This is really quite puzzling. Maybe you're going to make a flip book and print them out later, because a TIFF's a print file, so it shouldn't be here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I'm sure that there's a great idea. So it says right now to save in the same folder as the. 1 second, please. I am a visitor under the keyboard. All right. All right, little guy. You are getting yourself into a problem there. They're not too little. They're about 3 months old now. So, okay, I'm going to choose which folder this is going to, because it's not going to any of that folder right there. So we're going to go back to here. If I hit same folder, it just would flood this folder with PNGs, and we don't want that. No. We want a folder that says renders. What we need. Yes, certainly. All right, 1 second. I beg your indulgence. Sorry, I had to escort a problem child out of the room. Just for a few minutes. Not being excessively cruel or anything. Okay, so usually I name, instead of just randomly shot 2, I actually put this as shot 2 underscore Rachel. In case you have multiple characters in the scene, they all have to be rendered separately. That way we can apply the effects to them, and you can get some sort of depth going too. You can maybe blur out the ones in the foreground or background to get nice parallaxing going on. It just depends on what's going on in the scene, but we're just going to go ahead for the sake of this one to hit that. Okay, so now it will render out. So what's happening on the other screen is that the render panel has opened and the taskbar is going. All 4 of them are proceeding quite well. You can kind of see down here the progress of the render going on. It is going well. So. I suppose there should be a spoiler warning on this live stream because you're seeing what's going to happen in the next episode, but it's all very piecemeal, so anyway. Nothing too exciting at the moment. It looks like we're almost there. Oh, there, you can see the actual render in progress. The black means that there is an alpha channel, and that will be transparent. So, I think we're almost there. All right, very good. Hey, that's rendered out. So we're now ready to move to After Effects. I've not really done in this panel very much because it's much smaller than what I'm used to. Wowzers, that's tiny. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a shot 2. So I'm going to make a file folder here to see if there's another file. Okay, there's not. We're going to make a new file folder. We're going to call this shot 2. One second, please. I need to also toss out another problem child, and maybe that will quiet up another one. 1 second, please. You with your brother. Okay, so sorry about that too. That's one of the reasons why I haven't done a lot of live streaming is being swarmed by kittens during live streams is very distracting for everybody involved. Okay, so let's go up to new composition here. Okay, so we're in a project. This is the Indavo 2 project. It has all the scenes I've got so far. I've done a lot of the effect scenes, as you can plainly see. This is now shot 2. Okay, so it's 25 seconds. We only need 6 seconds. Square pixels. Everything else is okay. Frame rate is 25. Bam, go. Okay, so now we are going to bring in some files. Not these files. No. Let's go up to our Indavo 3 file folder and into episode 2, into shot 2. Shot 2, and we are going to go shot 2 background. I'm going to import that in. And we also now are going to import in the MP3. I guess you could do this all at the same time. I always do it separately because I am old-fashioned like that. And we're going to do the double click on the renders, and we're going to click this, make sure the image sequence, PNG image sequence, is checked, or else it will try to import them separately. This way, you don't have to select them all. You select any one of them, and it will say, "Oh, this is numbered with the 00," and then an actual other number. This means that this is an image sequence. I got to grab all these that are named similarly. It's very intuitive. So we click import, and there it is. Okay, now before we do anything else, we got to right click on that. We have to interpret this footage because right now it is defaulting for 30 frames a second. Why does it do that? I don't know. There may be a way to counter that, but I have not found out. So I reinterpret it to be at 24 frames a second, which is what we have animated it at, that, which is what our scene is set for. Ugh. All right. Anyway, none of that nonsense right now. So okay. So let's start getting things in here. So we're going to toss this guy onto the timeline. How? Our background. Stupendous. Sorry. What else is whining now? Usually doesn't whine very much. Okay. So I remembered that we have our audio file starts at 4 seconds. So, pow. That there. So now we're going to take Rachel and we're going to put her right here. And as you can see, it fills up the entire timeline. Pow. And there we go. Okay, so I'm looking over the rendered animation. That does actually look pretty good. So we're going to leave it as is. What's in all, as they say. Okay, we're going to hit save. Okay, we are rocking and rolling. Okay, so what we need now is I need to get out of there, and I just need to kind of go to this explosion. We're not putting that explosion in here, no. But what I am importing, and I'm importing a few things I used previously in my resources. What is it? What? What? All right, Princess is whining. She's named Princess because she has expectations about life that probably exceed my ability to supply. And she lets me know. there. Okay, enter resources. Let's see here. What I need is I need a. I think it's space. Right. Here we go. Background 1, I believe, is what I need. Okay, so I'm going to put background 1 on the background. Oh, and I messed up. So let's delete that out again. Yes, I know. Okay, so let's try that again. What we're going to do is we're going to go up here to import. And what I did is when I selected that, it said, oh, PNG its own sequence. So it thought that was like 1/24th of a second of space, and that's just not enough space. We need a lot of space. So here we go, background 1 PNG. We're just going to do that guy right over here. Okay, so I'm going to go to here and turn on the motion blur. Make sure the motion blur is on there as well. We're going to do a little bit of keyframing here. So we're going to hit, with this layer selected, hit P, and now we're on keyframes. So we're going to activate the stopwatch, which is our positional thing. We're going to move the X-axis here a little bit. In fact, we're going to move the Y, so it's a little bit up right there. Just a little like right there. Okay, so even though the adventure is in space, let's say that there's a slight bit of drift, because, you know, it's getting to a complete 100% full stop is difficult. But we don't need the stars to be whizzing past, because they are at a relativistic speed. I should also say that when rendering the ships on Blender, it's very hard to get the stars to move without having the camera turn, because it is actually extrapolating that your stars are an astronomical distance away. Therefore, the actual movement of the stars doesn't happen all of what you see in Star Wars or Star Trek, unless you're really cheating really heavily and getting a kind of like an arc to the camera and ship movement. That's a trick there. So we're just going to have it drift slowly here in After Effects so we don't overdo it. Anyway, and if it's a scene. So here's where we go. So, I mean, you can barely tell that they're moving, and that's exactly what we want. So let's go to here, and let's double click on those guys. Keyframe interpolation, linear, that's what we want. Okay. We don't want any ease out or anything like that on here, and usually it does not default to that. So that is wonderful and good. Okay. So, before we do anything else, let's go to our Rachel layer. Okay, well, this is not bad. I mean, here you got, she's sitting there, and she's super bright, and then the background's a super kind of dramatically lit. So you've got to put her in the scene. And this is the compositing thing. Rob Ritchie, great compositor, worked on the Doctor Who animation range on like Evil of the Daleks, was amazing. And I watched that DVD extra, and I hung on his every word. So there's Styles. So we're going to do a gradient overlay. Okay, so here we go, gradient overlay. Of course, this doesn't work. I mean, what's this do? This doesn't do anything for us. We have to edit it quite a bit. So let's go down to our panels here, change the opacity to, whoa, not divide, sorry, to multiply, and let's take that down just to about 86, yeah, sure, whatever. Bad. Let's go down to here, let's take that angle. Let's take that angle down to there. Okay, there we go. And take it right there. Let me take that down just a couple of more points to 79. That's not bad. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Très dramatique. No? The lingo there. Linear is A-OK for this one. Scale is A-OK for this one. So that's that. Okay, so looking better. But still needs a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here. We're going to go to Layer Styles, and we're going to go to Inner Shadow. It's not really a shadow that we're after. We are going to be using this, and we're going to stop hitting divide. Okay, there we go. Hard light. Okay, and yes, it's on black. And we don't want it to be on black. What we are trying to do is we're trying to capture the screens are on. Ah, there we go. The opacity is pretty good. For a second to pet a small little kitty cat. Yes. He's the most well-behaved one here, or sure is. Okay. A little bit of cat baby talk. Don't mind me, I'm not insane. Okay, so we're gonna move that to there. Opacity, not bad. Distance, again, not bad, but we want size to be a little bit more. No. Bring in that distance a little bit more. There we go. Too much. Let's bring that right about to there. Size down to right about there. Okay, there we go. Hey, that's not bad. Okay, so, and we're almost done. This scene. Almost, but not quite. All right, so now what we need is I need my overlay shader. All right, and I'm trying to remember where I stashed that last time. So let's go to import file. And let's go to resources. And I thought I had left it hanging around here, but maybe I didn't. Let's go back to animation resources. Oh, ooh, that's the OS shader. Dang it. Because that's yellow, and that's not what we're after. Nope. See if I maybe stashed it in someplace that made sense, like interiors. I did not, did I? No. Then ships, do they have a shader? No, they have a bunch of PNGs, but no shader. Ah. Well, I suppose we can make our own. Keep things moving instead of having me fumble around through my files. I'll look for that later. Yeah, I may be hanging out around here. No, it is not, of course. Well, maybe it's here in the episode 1 area. Down at the bottom, I got some grab things, got shots, explosions. Nope, I don't see anything right here. So we're gonna say, let's, all right, screw it. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out to make sure we're at the beginning there, hit save again. We're going to go to layer new, and it's going to be a solid. It's going to be a solid white. No, that'd be a solid black. There we go. Bam. Make sure that's that. Okay, bam. Not bad. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to go to layer styles, and we're going to put another gradient overlay. Again, this one's completely upside down. Way to default these, Adobe. I'd complain, but they don't answer my letters anymore. Or emails. I mean, suggestions over there. So, we're changing this blend mode to multiply. Ooh, and let's change that one to multiply too. Change that blending mode on to multiply as well. Did not go well. Nope. Okay. Let's change the blending options on that. No. Oh gosh. Change this back to normal. Okay. Trying to remember how I did this last time. It's slightly tricky. So let's go to blending mode. Let's go to lighten. And that's not quite it. Oh, maybe that is. Okay, now let's go to the gradient overlay. And let's go to... there we go. Wonderful. Except that's not what we were wanting. Haha, no. We want lighten. Oh, and we kind of screwed everything up there. So let's take that opacity down quite a bit. We don't need to be high. It's already dramatically lit. Just trying to get the idea that there is some light coming from the ceiling of this ship. So let's see here. Let's take that scale. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we're running into some issues here. I don't know if you can tell, but there's like different lines going on there, so we need to edit our gradient. And what we need to do in order to edit the gradient is we need to go to the opacity. Take that opacity down to 0, like so. And there we go. Now we can up this, and we don't get nearly as much lining as we were getting right there. So. Okay, so there we go. Now it looks like that very flat 2D image is somewhat in this 3D space. Somewhat. It's not perfect, but hey, this is the style that we're going for. This is the look that I have strove for. And this is how I do it. So, okay, well, let's see what we've got now. Prepare yourselves once again for this amazing line, delivered with much aplomb by Corey Poole, and she does a wonderful job of doing this and reciting my nonsense dialogue. So let's get on with it.
Seems to be a warship.
Beautiful. Okay, this is ready now. I think that's pretty good. Let's watch out one more time just to make sure that we're okay.
Seems to be a warship.
Beautiful. Okay, let's stop that. Okay, so this scene is now ready to be rendered. So in order to do that, you go to Composition, and you go to Add to Render Queue. And the render queue will come up, and you'll see that I have a lot of junk in my render queue, and I need to clean that out. Previous scenes and whatnot. Let's check some settings. So I use the H.264, which is an MP4 setting. Not doing any of the fancy other things. Format options is VBR. This is fine. It's good enough quality for what I'm doing. Make sure that your audio output is on, and looks like we are okay. Enter. We're gonna check and see where this is going to. This is not going to the right place. It needs to go into the shot.to file folder, where after it has been rendered, it will be eventually put into place in the episode. Yes, into the actual episode in Premiere, of course. The cats are battling outside the door, if you're wondering what they do with the meowing is. So they'll be fine. So boom, here we go. Oh, look at that. That was quick. These things render pretty darn quick, because even though I'm not doing a lot of stuff in there. So, all right, so that is the scene. I'm not playing it again. No. I don't think it's necessary at this time to play that one again. So, because we kind of got the idea of how this all works. So, fairly quick stream. It is a Friday night. I'm very tired, as you can tell. The kittens have just about had enough of my crap. So this is the process. This is the first character shot. You've been all on this journey with me. You got to see it all happen. The next shot would be guaranteed talking, but I don't have that audio recording, so I'm going to skip that and go on to shot 4, where Indavo, it has a very short line, which Bruce Brigg delivered with great aplomb. And then go back and forth. And then finally, the character in shot 7, the captain of the Kurdin will show up. That the character I kind of repurposed from the Dahlgren character. On previous live streams here, check that out. Will have his role, and the Komar did that one also great too. So amazing voice talent that I've been working with. Very fortunate that they've been down to take part of this project, this ridiculous pulpy space opera project. So anyway, so that is, I think, it for tonight. I think we're gonna leave it right there. And I will pick back up next time and we'll be a bit further down the line. I'll try and do a live stream occasionally when I'm working. I can't do it all the time when I'm working because I cannot. Kittens will not allow that, unfortunately. They're protesting right now, and I'm sure I'm going to hear all about it. Angry letters, a protest from kittens. So, but be sure to do scene 7 because that's a little bit more complicated. This will be the adventure backshot of the backs of the seats and space out beyond with the destroyer, and a view screen will pop up with our very angry Bruce, captain of the Kurt Inn, trying to figure out where this little spaceship came from and why it has a Sulan floater on it. So, but more on that later. So thank you for watching tonight. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have any questions about Moho, After Effects, or the kittens, be sure to let me know and I will try to answer them. So, all right, well then I will see everyone next time, which I'm sure it will not be a month next time. So, all right. Thank you and have a great evening.